Hello everyone, welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be diving in to see which archetype is calling out to you and why. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back my beautiful kindred spirits and anyone new who may be joining us here today. It's wonderful to have you tagging along and seeing what we have cooking up here with these different piles. Like I said, we're going to be looking into the archetypes through the Major Arcana and the Fool's Journey to see what is coming through for you right now in your life and what is most relevant and needed to challenge you, to invoke new ideas and different perspectives, fresh winds of change even. I'd love to see what's coming through for you all within these piles, and I hope you do enjoy them. I had a lot of fun, so like I said, it's kind of different, but I hope you do enjoy. Also, if you want to support this space, the Kindred tip jar is always down below, and you can choose to look into that if you'd like to be able to really bring in new decks and new supplies and support this space. But you can also check out the different snail mail readings I have down below, as well as digital readings for private readings if you're interested in getting one for yourself for any question or query on your mind. Those are a heck of a lot of fun, so definitely check those out. And also, if you want to look into the rainbow pride earrings that I'm making, made to order earrings, then definitely feel free to check those out. Those are going to be a lot of fun to have during Pride Month in June, so if you're interested in that, do feel free to check those all out down below. As a queer person myself, I put in a lot of love and energy and care into those, so do feel free to check everything out down below. And we're going to go ahead and look into these piles. So here for each of the piles, we have 3 different distinct palm stones. So for pile number 1, we have this palm stone. It is very dark until you turn it different ways because it is a Labradorite palm stone. Excuse my words today, a Labradorite palm stone with all of these beautiful colors and sheens. So if this one is calling out to you, then this might be the pile for you. Here for pile number 2, we have this piece of selenite with this mandala on it. It also is very shiny, very glowy, has a lot of illumination to it. So that might be the one calling out to you with pile number 2. And then last but not least, here with pile number 3, we have this piece of Goldstone, which is super glittery, super orange, and this beautiful burnt orange. And it might be the one calling out to you. So there you are, pile number 3. So before you start hurrying off to the timestamps, I'd just like to invite you to take a deep cleansing breath to really ground you in your energy, to invoke and bring out your intuition, and to see which pile is really calling out to you. So let's go ahead and take a deep cleansing breath together here now. And as always, there's no right or wrong way to choose your piles here. You can choose all 3 of the piles. You can choose between them. These archetypes have really no bounds, so do feel free to play around and see what calls out to you most. It might be a little bit of all of them. So all of the timestamps will be down below, as well as within the chapter marks of this video. And like I said, if you want to check out more of the community and all the offerings I have, those are down below, as well as on my Instagram with more information on everything there. And it's a great way to see what I'm up to within the queer community, within spirituality, and within tarot and charms. So do feel free to check all of that out down below. And we're going to go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this piece of Labradorite, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it here so you can see it during your reading today, as we are going to be playing around with the idea of archetypes within tarot. So we are only going to be using one deck here alongside many other supporting decks, but the main deck and the deck that we are going to be playing around with most is the Muse Tarot, and only with the archetypes of the Major Arcana, which, if you aren't familiar with tarot, basically these are the big players within tarot and showcase the main narrative that all of humanity across cultures, across races, across ethnicities, across time, all usually experience most everything that happens within these 20 to 23 cards. It kind of depends on the deck that you have, but we're going to be playing around with that today. So I really want to see what type archetype is really coming forward to you, almost as if you had like a spirit guide coming forward or some sort of guidance coming through from the Fool's Journey of the Major Arcana. So we're going to see what archetype is coming through for you, and then we're going to see what supporting decks and what supporting roles are coming in and how that archetype might be challenging you at this time and kind of evoking or invoking something new within you. So we're going to be playing around with that using the charms, the several different decks. All of that will be listed down below in the description. I haven't done a reading where we only use the Major Arcana, I believe, on my channel before, so I'm very excited to see what comes up for you all and how these cards play a role in your life right now. And if you clicked on this video, it was probably because it was really meant for you, so we're going to see why it was calling out to you. So let's see. Do feel free to send your energy in, as always, through time and space. Feel free to get comfortable and ready, and you can meditate before this, whatever you want, or you can just jump right in. But let's get right into it. So which archetype is being called and invoked within the spirit of those within group 1 or pile 1 here? Who would like to come forward? What archetype, what energy is coming through here for group 1? And we're going to really explore this card today. So we're going to see. Okay, I had a feeling strength is going to pop out today. I just had a feeling. And what I love about this specific deck is it doesn't just follow the typical archetypes. It has very interesting imagery. This one's more simplified. We have strength showing up here with a person on top of this lion, and this person is in red. They are in the desert. They're in the warmth. There is a lot of fire and courage that comes through with strength. So I want to see what's coming in. This is also the number 8, which is quite a interesting number that can talk about cycles. So sometimes it takes, we go through periods of our lives where we're going into a time of courage and strength needed, and then a time of rest. And so right now, strength is really being pulled out of you. And so I really want to play around with this card quite deeply. And so we're going to actually look into the guidebook, because as always, I love to teach you guys on here that if you are learning tarot, guidebooks are your friend, and they're useful, and they're a tool that are made for you. So do feel free to use them. They're wonderful resources. So with that in mind, this Muse Tarot one I love. It has such interesting, flowery, but powerful language. So we're going to pull up the strength card and read about it here. So this is what it says here in the guidebook. It says 8, strength. Keywords being gentle influence and strength, courage, fierce serenity, innocence, pure thoughts and actions, honest tranquility, gentle leadership, flexibility and strength in the face of uncertainty, purity and integrity. This is quite a complex card, so it has a lot of different ones showing up here. The prompt is the gentle courage of angels, and this is what it says. "And oh, what a curious sight we must be," she mused, this tiny thing perched on his head, leading the way with her breath. "Ah, but they don't know you like I do," he continued, "and all the strength you carry." He could feel a wave of brave tranquility radiate from within her, and all that flexible defiance, all that softness, and yet somehow all the beasts, both wonderful and terrible, seemed to take great pleasure in bowing before her. They yield to her quiet strength and fall reverent to her peaceful demeanor. For the power in her breath is calmness embodied. He looked up at her, small toes dangling in the corners of his vision, and tilted his head back to lick them. She giggled, and leaned down and wrapped her arms around his neck and gently squeezed. "It's true," she whispered, her love stopping him in his tracks. "What a curious light we must be." Fierce serenity, a graceful nod, to the beast, to the fear, to the night. A rooted calm, she claims her power toward the wind, toward the world, toward her light. Very interesting. I haven't really read through these in a really long time, so I found this really interesting. I liked the idea of the flexible defiance, softness, and how she leads him from her breath, or this person atop them leads them from her breath. So I really liked the idea of this card. This card usually has a lot to do, like I said, about courage, and courage is something that comes from the heart. The actual root word of courage is a French word, I believe, that actually means cœur, which is heart. So anytime we take that strength and that step forward to lead from a place of passion, from power, from integrity, and from even calmness and tranquility, we can also lead from our heart. And so there's something coming in here from the heart for you, and the idea of like guiding yourself, knowing that you have strengths, knowing that there are people who maybe underestimate the strengths in your life right now. And so I really want to see how this is actually showing up in your life and other things that might be coming through. And so I want to see how strength as an archetype of courage and moving forward despite the fear, despite the challenges, despite the uncertainty in life, and the pressing pressures, you still continue to prevail. And that's what I really think is coming through most with strength. And I want to see how that is showing up here to challenge you in your life right now, or the reason why it's showing up for you. So we're going to see a couple of supporting cards here. This one being about what is challenging you about strength right now. Maybe how you feel lost in your own strength, needing reminded of your strength, or many other things. So let's see what you have. The waters, relief, rejuvenation, and rest. Maybe that's why I felt called to the idea of like tranquility, and the idea of strength coming through calmness, through tranquility, through softness, and that strength doesn't always have to be something about like that's more muscular, like a lot of people think of like your body strength or your physical strength, or even just the idea that you have to be the loudest person in the room to be the strongest one, right? And so this waters is showcasing that you're challenging that script within you, around the people around you, maybe how you see strength in people who you look up to, and how strength can come from a more soft place. It can come from a more gentle space, a more empathetic and tranquil space. It doesn't have to be as intense or as in your face to be strong. Some of the strongest things that we have can be very gentle and can rejuvenate themselves too, right? I feel like a lot of people have been talking about the concrete that the Romans used, and how specifically the things and materials and minerals and things that they put in there, the reason why that concrete lasts so long in comparison to concrete that we use now in the modern day that needs replaced quite often, is because of the materials that they used, and that they are able to rejuvenate themselves with water and with rain. And so I really see that with you, right? Like something that can last time and time again. I was even getting that with like the pyramids, right? Something that can last a very long time. And so your strength is more gentle. It's less intense, and or maybe you're challenging the idea that you have to be so forward and strong in such a pushing kind of way. I hope I'm making sense, but there is this more of a flowing, moving like a river kind of strength that you have showing up here. Interesting. So I want to see how other things might be coming in to influence this. So we're going to see with the Prairie Majesty here. As always, do feel free to send your energy in. Always makes a difference. Adds a little bit more of you and your personal imprint into the reading, as it is a collective reading. So group 1, what else do you have coming in here? What helpers might be joining this archetype at this time? Group 1. Okay, so we have Dragonfly turn. What is next in my becoming, right? I feel like you're at a very pivotal point, or you're having a realization about the idea and the archetype of strength in your life, and how that is influencing those around you, your own courage, your own strength, what strength looks like to you, your identity around strength, and how that interacts with how people view you and your own strength too, right? So yeah, I'm really seeing that you're taking a turn, you're pivoting, you're, if you've ever seen dragonflies, they're constantly shifting and turning and changing and moving, and they also are constantly around water. So again, it has more of that water energy to it, and you're allowed to pivot, you're allowed to change, and you're allowed to see the world a little bit differently. And I think that sometimes that can be scary, right? Because we're kind of taking down the foundations that we've kind of always lived in. This has a lot to do with like, not that I love to work with divine feminine and divine masculine because I feel like it's very boxed in. I do feel like maybe you're moving away from those types of archetypes where things have to be so one-sided and there's more of a spectrum in between, and maybe you're seeing a little bit more of that spectrum within yourself when it comes to gender, when it comes to your identity, when it comes to your role in society, and it can go beyond those things, but it does feel very related to those. So I really see that coming in as well with that idea of turning and shifting and pivoting away from what you've always known and seeing if another shoe fits, you know, and that can be just as strong for you, if not stronger than where you were previously. So it feels more like an inner belief or an inner version of yourself, an identity that's shifting and changing and having the courage to change. So let's see what else might be coming in here with the Song of the Grandmothers. I don't think it's any of those. Let me keep going here. What other spirit might be coming forward to bring out some more information on this archetype? Okay, so we have Grandmother Gorilla, empathy, sensitive feeler, tenderness is strong enough. It even has strong in here to hold all that is. The number 45 in the corner as well. 4 being about tradition and 5 about change. So 45 is all about changing a tradition that has always been, right? So I really see empathy being something that can be quite a strength for you, turning and pivoting being a strength, that flowing water being a strength, right? It doesn't matter how much we put a dam up in a water, right? It still has the potential, it still has the, the force to break that down over time. And so I do think that your strength comes over time. I think your strength is built over time. And I think, again, you're shifting your perspective on what strength even means to you and how it leads you in your life and others within your life and how you relate to strength, right? So I feel like it's less about how you're using strength in your life and more how you see this archetype within your life and those around you. And that there is more of a spectrum there than you had previously thought. So those are the ones that I'm really getting here. I loved that idea, sensitive feeler, tenderness is strong enough to hold all that is, right? So it feels like it's coming from a more flowing, tender, empathetic, compassionate space. And maybe that's, again, why you're kind of moving away from this like forceful strong into something a little bit more flowing, like a river. So I want to put some more information here and end off with some charms. Like I said, this isn't going to be a super overly complex reading. I just really wanted to look into how it is relating to you right now. And this is going to give us more of those details. But if you have been enjoying this reading, if you're interested in these types of readings where we do more in-depth guidebook discussions on them, then do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help me know what you're enjoying and that you're enjoying the reading so far. It also helps the channel to grow, so thank you. But let's go ahead and pull some charms. So do feel free to send your energy in some more information on strength. Okay. So we might not hit up on every single charm here because I pulled quite a few, but I'm going to read through them and see what you have. So, okay, let's just look here. So we have only one that fell on strength alongside this tiny little chromosome charm. I always think it makes me think of like little chromosomes or something like that, or our DNA or something microscopic and small, but yet very, very complex. And so I feel like the idea of strength is something that is very complex to you. It might, again, have things to do with gender, with biology, with your body, with physical strength. It could be many different things that are different for each of you, but I do see that coming up here even more within strength and the idea of how you're shifting your perspective. And I definitely feel like you definitely are wanting to move from the perspective you had previously, because we have the chain, and the chain usually represents feeling chained back or held back in some way, feeling like you're dragging a chain and ball around, and clanking it around, and it feels clunky and heavy. And so whatever version you had of strength, of courage, and what your relation to it, your relationship to it is shifting, is because it felt previously in the past quite limiting, and not only limiting for yourself, but also limiting those around you and the strength that you guys can have together in a more compassionate or empathetic space. Especially since you have a lot showing up here on empathy and on water. But let's move over here first to Dragonfly and see what we have here. On what is next in my becoming, we have the little shell. So this is a tiny little shell talking about getting outside of your shell. I have 2 different shells in my collection, and this one is about staying in your shell. So again, it's more of that held back, chained back situation, but also coming from yourself, and maybe that strength can come from, right, like a snail can be a little bit of both, right? A snail has its shell to keep itself safe and have more of that like body strength that we talked about, that more forward strength kind of feeling, resilience that comes from that. But then it has this little squishy, empathetic body that is also more of that flowing water state. And so it can be a little bit more of both. You're allowed to be a little bit more of both and fall in that spectrum. And that is what is next in your becoming. And interestingly, the 2 things that did fall on here are both like bones in a sort of way, right? We have the bones of the idea of a shell, and then we have the ancestral bones that come up here, that I always see this as more of like your ancestors, your bones in terms of tradition and in terms of like generational reasons and why you might feel the way you do around the archetype of strength. And maybe it comes from generation passed down. It can come from stereotypes, traditions, and even from like different cultural practices that you have. But that is starting to shift and change within your mind, especially since it fell on this turn card. And so you're definitely seeing it from a new perspective, and you might be the first in your family to see it this way, or you might be the first to be the one to bring up the subject, especially since we have the sun here, which represents bringing something to light, and we have the sun showing up here behind you in this card. So I really do think you're bringing something to light within your traditions that maybe needs to change in relation to strength or norms and traditions. You also have more to do with that sort of dragonfly energy with the little bird here. You have a couple of different things showing up here with hearts, right? You have several different hearts. I just realized 3 different hearts. You have the key to your heart, you have the solid heart, and then the I love you heart, all falling within this river. More to do with that compassion, that empathy, that tenderness, that sensitivity that's coming through with this card, and showcasing that opening yourself up to it is going to give you a solid ground, is going to make you feel more solid, loved, and understood. And it means that you also will have to, again, make that pivot, that change within yourself to do so. You also have the insecurity charm showing up here too with the safety pin. So it does mean it can be something that's quite nerve-wracking to maybe bring up. Like I said, there could be that generational gap. There could be reasons why in your culture this could be something that is very opposite of what you've ever known. It's very different in your beliefs. It's quite unsettling for a lot of people. And so it might take time to turn people around, but I think it's more important to turn yourself around than it is to work on your community as well. So it's something that's going to come from inward and then illuminate outward over time. And then on empathy, we have a few different charms. We have the song charm. We have the this also makes me think of like a cadence, like it's going to take time, like it's going to pick up speed as you go. The more that you dive into this, the more that you play around with this archetype and learn more about it in relation to you, your culture, and others within your life generationally, is going to pick up speed and kind of test the waters. I also see this cog moving and changing and shifting within your mind as well. We have the bull charm, which represents stubbornness. You might have people in your life that are quite stubborn about this, or you might be quite stubborn about moving forward on this. But we do have the heart showing up here again, right at the heart of this gorilla with their young was going to say cub, but they're not cubs, like a young little gorilla as well. And, you know, you're opening your heart a little bit here, and you're having to tread a little bit more tenderly, but knowing that that tenderness can be your strength, and that's something that you're learning too. So overall, you had a lot showing up here within your cards. I know I talked a lot, probably waffled over the same thing over and over, because it was really showcasing that same feeling of turning and shifting and pivoting within this archetype. And how it relates to you. So I hope this has given you a little bit more insight into this and how it might be showing up in your life, either now or in the near future. So definitely take time to journal on this. I think this would be a really useful time to journal on what you're seeing here in the imagery or other things. I think it would be really beneficial to you. But if you have enjoyed this reading so far, do be sure to give this video a like. Let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you. I'm always interested. And you're welcome to subscribe as well, as I put out new videos every single Monday for love, career, spirituality, on archetypes, and other fun, interesting educational videos on tarot and charm casting, and many others. So do be sure to subscribe. And you can also hit the notification bell to be notified as these videos come out. And if you want to support this channel to get new decks and new supplies and to support this space and financially keep it going and running, then do be sure to check out the Kindred tip jar. It's a wonderful way to give back to this space, and you're also able to check out the other offerings I have down below. Sometimes I have spell paper, sometimes I have other fun, interesting things. Right now I'm doing some rainbow earrings for Pride, if you want to get some of those before Pride month in June. And I also do snail mail readings, so if you're interested in a private personal reading for yourself, you can check out all of the information on that below, as well as on my Instagram. So yeah, with all of that said, I do hope you enjoyed this reading and your relationship to strength, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose this piece of selenite, then this is the pile for you. Today we are going to be looking into your archetypes that are coming through, and specifically one archetype throughout the Major Arcana from tarot. So what does that mean? Basically, if you are new to tarot, or if some of you haven't really studied very deeply into tarot, you might not know that there are major and minor arcana pieces to a tarot deck. And today I pulled out only the majors, which are all really big archetypes within the Fool's Journey. And so we're going to be playing around to see where you are in that Fool's Journey, where you are sitting at this time, and how that archetype might be challenging you, shifting your perspective, or giving you new insight in your life to evoke something new inside you. So we're going to see how that's coming through. We're going to see what challenges, what evokes from it, and what other sort of spirits that are coming through within flora and fauna for you, and to help you out throughout this change or shift that might be coming in. So we're going to be doing that through the charms and several different oracle decks, and the main deck being the Muse Tarot with just the majors, and all of the information on that will be down below. But let's just get right into it, because I've not done this yet, I believe, on the channel so far, where I only use the majors for a reading, and I'm very excited about it. The Major Arcana can be so powerful and tell us really deep messages, and like an archetype is, right, it shows us something that transcends, borders and boxes and things that we humans like to put into boxes and shapes and things through ethnicity, through culture, through time. And this is breaking that all down to see the things that thread us all together on our journey. And so I'm really excited to see what comes in for you guys. So do be sure to get settled, get cozy, get comfy, get ready for this, and do feel free to send your energy in through time and space. It always does make a difference in these collective readings to bring a little spice of yourself into the deck. And we're going to see what archetype is coming through for you. So which archetype is challenging you, shifting your perspective, or coming through most deeply for you, group 2, at this time? Which archetype is coming through for group 2? Group 2, and we're gonna really dive deep into these. Okay, so you have the Sun card, super fun, very sunny, obviously, But what I love about this deck is that it really dives deeply into these archetypes in a really interesting way. And so in this case, we have the sun, yes, but the sun is a flower and a mandala of flower petals, and an interesting way of looking at it, almost like a kaleidoscope. And so it gives us a new perspective already in the way that we look at the sun and how it can change and shift our perspective based on how cloudy or what the weather is doing and things like that in a physical way. But also the sun is the archetype of the child, of the young naivety that we all have in us, and the playful creative side that we all have within us as well. It's our gut, it's our intuition, it's our instincts. The sun brings out so much of our identity, and it also shows how we like to show our identity to the world through the things that we dress, through how we dress, through our culture, through our traditions, and having those come to light. It is also the card of truth, right? There's no way to, if you are in full sun, right, there's no shadows. You are completely exposed to the sun, to the light of the sun, and in doing so, you're also showcasing the most of yourself. And so there's a lot of ways to look at this card, and we're going to see what's coming up most for you by looking in the guidebook. And I love to use the guidebook for readings like this, where we look deeply into one card or one archetype or one specific message, because these like to go in depth. And I love to remind you all, especially if you're just getting into tarot, if you're new to oracle or divination, there is no shame in using the guidebook. I know a lot of people like to make you feel bad, like you're using a cheat sheet or something like that, but these are made for a reason, and a lot of people take a lot of time to put their energy and thoughts into them, and they have a lot to say. So we're going to see what this has to say for you. This is also the number 19, so we're farther into the journey than most, and it comes before the moon and after the it comes after the moon and before the awakening card or judgment card. So let's look a little bit deeper here and see what it has to say for all of you. So here we are, the sun. Feel free to write anything that you have here or journal deeply on any of the words that come through for you. Sometimes it's just a specific sentence that you need to hear, So it says here, number 19, the sun. The key words here are powerful positivity and success, optimism, joy, happiness, celebration, and family. Jovial rumination. In a world of sun and shadow, she always finds a speck of time to pause and embrace the sunlight. For the sun's energy is life itself, divine energy, the will to grow and to thrive, and the ability to do so. When she slows and comes to a pause, she can reach out with her mind to greet this massive surge of positive energy. Her mind spins beautifully, peacefully, and hypnotically under the spell of geometric shapes and full flow from the divine. It's a dance of ideas, of healing memories, because oh, how the sun can heal. She sends you a heart-filled message of happiness found and signals your forthcoming success. Expect total freedom. Be optimistic about your joy. She floats, knowing that you will experience it soon, and that life is about to get a whole lot better. Mandala sun, I am your child, your healing touch my muse. I celebrate both deep and wide, and all my joy I choose. Ooh, I love that. And all my joy I choose, right? So sometimes joy is something we have to choose, right? There's so many times where we've been in perspectives and moments, and I'm no shame, like we've all been there, where like even if everything is going right, even if you're having the most successful day to someone else, we still can nitpick it. We can look for and seek out the things that aren't perfect or aren't working, or the small little things that get in our way, or even big things, right? And sometimes it's seeking out the joy, choosing to look for joy, choosing to look for the more optimistic point of view. And that isn't to say that sadness can't be the optimistic thing. That isn't to say that it's a positive in a toxic way. Right, we don't want to be toxic in a positive way, or having positive toxicity happening up in here, but more so the idea that any emotion can be a positive emotion. Sometimes it's good to cry. Sometimes it's good to feel uncomfortable or to seek discomfort, and that can be an optimistic thing for some of us, right? So it's all depends on perspective, but I really think that the sun is trying to give us some more information on the archetype that's coming through for you. So why is this archetype coming through for you? Let's see how it is challenging you or being invoked for you right now. So as always, do feel free to send in your energy, and we're going to see how you might be choosing joy, optimism, or understanding more of that creative balance that's coming through from that. So, okay, we have the 4 of paper signature, and this is in the paper suit, all about like building and creating paper, and it showcases tradition, organization, and planning. So, okay, I really do feel like I'm getting this energy that the reason why this is coming up is you guys might be a planner. Obviously, that can be coming through. You might be the type of person that likes to plan ahead. You like to think it through, or you're the type of person that maybe gets an idea in your mind of how you want a day to go, and the moment something goes wrong, you stub your toe, the person didn't call, someone doesn't show up, or you're 20 minutes late, or whatever it is, something that you have a roadblock coming through, then it just derails your whole day, you know what I mean? And I feel like you feel exposed because of that. You feel kind of put down by that, or shame or embarrassment, or even just, like that the day is now lower than it was before. And the sun is coming through to challenge you on that aspect, right? It's coming through to challenge your plans, and that sometimes those things are an opportunity for you. And it doesn't always feel that way, right? When we stub our toe, or something goes wrong, or someone doesn't show up, or the day turns around in some way that you didn't expect, even if it turns around in a positive note for you, or something that would actually benefit you. It still means our perspective means like, oh, the day is ruined. Oh, the whole week is ruined. Everything is it didn't work. It's not right, and it can really derail you and kind of move you away from that optimistic, joyful point of view. And so I feel like you choosing joy, or looking for those things to celebrate, or to laugh at, or to even seek discomfort within, in a more optimistic point of view, can be really opportunistic for you. And so I see that you're being challenged to see this as an opportunity to choose joy in a difficult situation, or in a situation that makes you feel lower, or in a place that kind of challenges that plan that you had in mind. And this is also to say sometimes you have an opportunity come forward to challenge you and to challenge your joy. And that when someone challenges your joy, or an opportunity comes forward to challenge your joy, that someone pushing the limits of your joy and what you want to choose can also show you opportunities of where you maybe need to split off, or change in some way. Because if you're constantly working in a workplace that makes you feel like you can't choose joy anymore, or that joy isn't as much of a option for you, whether that's in career, or in love, or in a relationship, or whatever it might be, that also is, again, it's challenging you to maybe see that there's a new opportunity for you to unlock where you didn't think you had it before. So I'm seeing that come through, like, again, perspective with the kaleidoscope, the idea of looking from multiple angles and realizing maybe that the angle you've been looking for wasn't one that helped you to choose joy, or to help you see a more optimistic point of view for you. But I want to look a little bit further and see what other helpers we have coming in from the Prairie Majesty, as well as the Song of the Grandmothers here in a moment. So do feel free to send your energy in. I always love seeing what comes in with these ones specifically. So, group, ooh, we got them popping all over the place. Group 2, what do you got? I'm also feeling called to this one. I think I'm going to pull, I don't know. I'm going to pull both of them and see what you guys get. But we have here digest, as well as flip. Okay, so this one we already talked a little bit on, so we might see what both have to say. But we have flip here, with how does the situation look and feel from a different point of view with the stink bug, right? So they can fall on their back and have to flip themselves entirely over. So I see you seeing from a different point of view. So every time you're getting flipped over, you're on the stinkier side, the less optimistic side, things aren't going well. How do you flip yourself over? And that doesn't mean looking for a way to make yourself through a situation that sucks. It just means that accepting that a situation sucks to be able to know where that new perspective can come in, that new route that you could take could come in. We also have digest showing up here with turkey vulture. What am I cleaning or converting? And this one is all about sort of purging things out of your life too that aren't giving you joy anymore. It's kind of like, right, like they're purging, they're noticing what isn't, and it's also digesting too in a transmute kind of way of being able to take a situation that was once one thing and being able to transmute it, transform it into something that could be positive for you. So this is going kind of two different ways. I want to see what else you get, and I'm curious, but I do feel how both of these are coming in the idea that, like, again, you might have to digest new plans or to see your plans from a new point of view. They're all kind of feeding each other here. So let's see. Oof, they are flying. So, of course, you got grandmother, hummingbird, and the word is joy. It says, happiness blossoms in gratitude and belief. It flowers for you. Aw. Number 17. So we have the hummingbird. Hummingbirds also move very quickly, so it also makes me feel like your plans can change quite quickly. And so I feel like you're having to continue to look for new ways in which to find that joy. Happiness blossoms in gratitude and belief. It flowers for you. And we have those flowers showing up here in that kaleidoscope. So I really do think that new perspective, that look, that change, how does it feel and look from a new situation, or rather a new point of view, and how that you can also convert what you already have into a new perspective. I feel like all of these are just continuing to lead back to joy. And that joy can be a hard thing and an uncomfortable thing sometimes to even find. And that maybe in your situation right now, you have to look from a new point of view to find that joy and to choose joy, because there are people in your life that you need to clean up from being in your space that is causing toxicity, habits, or other things that might be causing toxicity that's moving away from a place of joy for you. And joy is at the center of all of this. Okay. So I want to look a little bit further. I'm going to go ahead and just set this here in the center, and we're going to pull some charms. So if you have been enjoying this reading so far, do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the reading or the channel continue to grow and lets me know that you enjoyed the reading. Thank you so much for doing that if you did. And let's pull some charms. Okay, so let's see what you got. So we have, first off, the number 1 showing up here, both between a new situation, changing your point of view, and then also the sun card that you had for your archetype. I also am getting this feeling of like creativity coming in here quite deeply that I didn't talk about a lot with the sun card, but that you have to get kind of creative about your situation to find joy as well and to seek joy. That came up just now, that I feel like you might have to just get creative about your situation as well. But we have the number 1, which also means that you are the only one that is going to be able to seek this joy, that you can't find joy through others, or that joy can't come from an external place. It has to really come from within. Like I said, you can have everything going right for you, but if there's something within to work on or to look for or to change and find a new perspective on, then that isn't going to, the wheel isn't going to keep turning here on that point of view. So I just am getting this feeling that it comes from within versus without. It's not an external joy that you're going to have to continue to seek, but something from within. We also have a couple of numbers showing up here. We have the number 11, which is a manifestation number. It's about taking something that's from within and moving it to the external. It's all about manifestation. And then we also have the number 1. So we have like 11 showing up here. We have ones. We have a lot to do with that internal, external energy that I was just talking about. So I really feel like the only way to find joy is to seek it from within. We have 2 different birds showing up here. We have lots of wings, all about being able to take flight, having freedom in that, having to look from a individualistic or independent point of view to be able to seek out that joy. And so it really has to come from within, and you have to manifest it into reality, right? It's not something that you can hold on to from others, or that could become very toxic, or that you have to look for validation and joy and love from an external place, which is much harder than finding it from within. I also see that like nature could be a really beautiful place for you to also find and seek joy, to be able to maybe digest what is going on within you right now, and maybe why you're having certain emotions that maybe you personally feel are more negative or more optimistic or more low, or however it might be how you relate it to the sun and your joy. But I do feel like nature can be a really beautiful place for you to be able to really digest your thoughts, to see what's on your side and what isn't, to be able to sort of sort through your feelings and your emotions. And that could be a really beautiful place for you to be able to do that. Over here on the stink bug, we have the scissors at the wing. And so I do feel like, again, it's cutting your freedom, and it's creating a more toxic place for you to be able to flip your point of view if it isn't coming from within. And if it's coming from an external place, then it's like clipping your wings, you know what I mean? To find and seek joy. We also have the don't jump the gun charm. So I always see this more as like, don't jump the gun, don't go too quickly, don't move too fast, or sort of the idea that like, yes, one thing could go wrong in your day, but don't jump the gun on it. It might turn around, and if you allow yourself the opportunity to turn it around, that can make a world of a difference. And then lastly, here on your maps that are showing up here with the signature or the tradition, organization, and planning card, we have the feather. And this is making me think more on that digest, the idea of these birds clipping that wing. I'm getting this feeling of like a molting bird or a shedding bird. I'm not sure what you call it when it's a feather, but sort of shedding feathers so that you can grow new ones. So I do think that this is something that is going to be sort of a longer process and take a little bit of time. And over time, the better you get at it. So be a little bit more tender with yourself. Give yourself a little bit more credit and compassion when things don't always work out and it still frustrates you. That's okay, and again, it's just an opportunity for you in the long run to see a new perspective each time. So overall, those are all the cards and charms that I pulled here for your archetype of the sun here today. Joy being a really big part of it, perspective being a big part of it, and the idea of digesting and purging things within your plans, or allowing yourself to be a little bit more flexible as well. Flexibility isn't something I talked about a lot, but flexibility being a big part of it as well, to be able to seek and choose joy. So I do hope that this has been useful for you. If it was, do be sure to give this video a like, and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. The sun is one of my favorite cards, so I'd love to hear. Do be sure also to subscribe if you haven't already. We are close to 1,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you along the ride as I put out new readings every single Monday. And I also do some educational videos on charm casting and other fun types of reading, so do be sure to subscribe. And also, if you want to support the channel, the Kindred tip jar is down below. Everything that goes in there goes right back into the channel, so I really do appreciate anything that comes in there. But you can also check out ways in which you can support not only me and this channel, but also yourself through the snail mail readings that I provide for personal private readings. So if that's something you're interested in, you can do that. And I also have some fun Pride earrings that I'm doing for Pride Month in June. So if you want to get some earrings ahead of time for Pride Month, do be sure to check out those out down below. So with all of that said, I hope you are feeling a little bit better about this sun card and this archetype and kind of working through it. Do be sure to let me know what you think. or if you get up to any journaling on these, I'd love to know. You can go as deeply or as exploratively as you'd like to with this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye! Hello Group 3, if you decide to choose this Goldstone for your pile, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it here so you can see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be playing around with the charms as well as several different other decks, which I'll have all listed down below, for the idea of archetypes and which archetype is coming through to invoke something in you, to challenge you in some way, or to bring something else into the table for you. So we are going to see what archetype is coming through for you, and I haven't done this on the channel until this reading, I believe, or at least it's been a very long time, where we are only pulling from the Major Arcana, the Fool's Journey within the tarot. So if you are new to tarot, if you don't know a lot about tarot, there are major and minor cards. Minor usually being like smaller life events, the day-to-day, the major being the bigger life events or the bigger archetypes that are overarching beyond race, beyond culture, beyond ethnicity, beyond borders, beyond time, right? These are the things that transcend and are most connected to the human experience. So we're going to see what is coming through for you and which archetype is really being brought out within you right now. So do feel free to get settled and cozy, and we're going to get started and see what's coming through for you. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space, and let's see which archetype is calling out to you right now. Group 3. Which archetype is calling to Group 3 right now? Which archetype is calling to Group 3 and why? And we're really going to deep dive with these today. We're going to look into the guidebook and everything and see what is coming through with them. This would be a great reading to journal on as well. So feel free to get a journal or a pen or paper. There we go. And we're going to see which one came out for you. So you have the archetype of Temperance. Wow, this is all about liminal spaces. It's about the in-between, the spectrum of extremes, right? Or the spectrum between extremes. So that is what we're really getting here. Light and dark, day and night, sunrise, sunset, right? This is the in-between those. It also has a lot to do with mixing and mingling. It has a lot to do with finding your personal sweet spot, homeostasis, right? And that all of us fall at different points within that spectrum. We all have personal preferences and ways in which we approach different extremes and where we fall on different spectrums in humanity and in our own identity. And so I really want to see how this comes in for you. We have these beautiful moons, we have phases showcasing again that extremity. There's these flowers, there's the day and night energy, a Luna moth behind them. So I really want to see how it's coming through, and we're going to be looking a little bit deeper with the guidebook. I think it's always important when we do these deep dive videos, which I've done a few more this year. It's been a lot of fun kind of deep diving into a specific archetype or concept for each of you and how those relate to you. But I love to do it with the guidebook, and specifically this guidebook is wonderful. It has such interesting creative language that I think gives us a new tone and a new way to look at Temperance. So we're going to be doing that. I also just like to point out as well, if you are new to tarot, never feel bad about using the guidebook. They are meant to be used, right? They're these beautiful tools that people put a lot of time and energy into, so why not use them? I know that there is sometimes that pressure from others who are maybe have already learned tarot, saying like, never use the guidebook can hold you back. But I think there's a lot of value in these, so I just want to remind you of that if you haven't been reminded before. So let's see what we have coming in here with Temperance. It's also the number 14. So 14 being, 4 being usually kind of strict traditional ways of doing things, and 1 being about the individual. It's around the Devil card and also is around the Death card. So it comes right after the Death card. So we're going to see what comes in with Temperance for you here, and let's read on it together. So it has a few keywords. The keywords here are harmony, balance, the middle path, avoiding excess, blending energies and ideas, alchemy, finding purpose, the Goldilocks zone, meaningful encounters, turning a life lesson into spiritual gold. That one's interesting. Patience and healing. So again, if you are journaling through this, feel free to write any of those down. The prompt here is measured moderation, and this is what it says. The gods took equal parts fast and slow, equal parts material and spiritual, and equal parts she and he and they mixed them in their lotus cauldron as they stirred to life the muse of temperance. They needed this balance and malleability in the world, for her to voice reason and bring them together in a beautiful blend of oneness. Temperance doesn't jump to excess. She doesn't rely on the dark or the full moon. Instead, she is a mosaic of parts, and she melts it all together in a way that spins the best of the best of the best into one. She weaves purpose and harmony into the lives of others, and her greatest alchemical gift is the treasure of healing. She reminds you to turn despair into the gift of patience and blend the need to thrive with the need to enjoy. When you walk the middle path that is available to you, what areas find greater balance? I am the divine weaver of duality. I hold you, I am essence, and our evolution of becoming is rooted in the mixing. Ooh, those liminal spaces, like I said, the mixing, the mingling, the melding, the transforming, taking the best of the best of the best and putting them all together in a melting pot, right? So it's like a blend of ideas, blending your identity, knowing that different parts of yourself are allowed to mix and mingle, and that you don't have to be one archetype even, kind of in a way too, that's showing up as well. I loved the idea of Goldilocks zone and a life lesson into spiritual gold, patience, and healing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. As always, I love that guidebook. So I want to see how temperance for you in this mixing, mingling, melding, liminal space, avoiding excess and extremes, and seeing how you can find that Goldilocks zone for you is coming up, and how it is challenging you in your life right now. Why this is coming up for you. So we're going to see what that is for you now. So do feel free, as always, to send your energy in through time and space. And we're going to see, why is temperance coming up for you now? Why has it come forward? What is it invoking within you? Okay, interesting. We just talked about patience. We talked about that fluidity as well. So it says here the 6 of ink, and it is the calligraphy card. And it says fluidity, skill, and patience here. And taking your time. And as you can even see, they're going from extremes and mixing things together, mixing colors and finding more richness in life by mixing and mingling and seeing something on a spectrum. This has actually come up in all three of the piles. I feel like the idea of a spectrum and the idea of finding the in-between or looking from a perspective that you hadn't before, mixing things. And so that's definitely coming through with all three of the piles and for a lot of you. But I also feel this feeling that like maybe there's things in your life right now that are being challenged in the idea that you're bringing two things together. Maybe you're bringing two hobbies together, or you're bringing your home life to your career life, or you're mixing and mingling something that feels at extremes or polar opposites, or feel like they couldn't ever mesh together in some way. It's kind of like when you have like a friend you only know from school and a friend you only know from work, and they like meet and it just feels like two universes are colliding, and it feels like they shouldn't mesh, but they do, or they don't, right? So there's this idea of kind of dabbling in that between, in that liminal space, and seeing what happens. This idea of experimentation too, of like being sort of that you know what I'm trying to say, like a chemist almost, in an alchemy way, and pouring different facets of your identity, yourself, your creativity, different parts of your world, and mixing them all up to find something more potent in between, and that Goldilocks zone. So I really see it challenging you or invoking a way of mixing something that you hadn't mixed together before, and seeing what new comes from it, and what beauty can come from it as well, and new opportunities for you. Really loving what energy you're bringing to the table here, group 3, but let's see what else you have coming in too. So we're going to see what other archetypes or ideas are coming through with some support from the Prairie Majesty deck here. So let's see, group 3. All right, we've got one flying over here. They've been very open today. We have the idea of trust. So the white-tailed deer Am I honoring my knowing and trust? Oh, this feels like I said, of when you're bringing like your two friend groups together, say, right? And it's trusting that they will mesh because you are that mixing link. You are that reason that brings them together, that feeling of taking two extremes and putting them together. You are that liminal space, and allowing yourself to be that mixing pot, allowing yourself to mix other people together and help them to see empathy, compassion, being able to understand various stories and points of view, and being able to be that person in between, to walk the in between. Maybe you already feel like you're in between something within your life, within maybe your ethnicity, within your culture, maybe where you live, maybe because you've moved multiple places in your life, right? You have that perspective of multiple different cultures and places, and you're that melting pot. There could be a lot of different reasons why you might already feel like you walk that path, but I feel like you're being challenged to continue to see that either in others and noticing how they have their own unique blend, right? And trusting that they have this complexity to them as well. And I also feel like this trusting comes in with like the white-tailed deer, right? They're deer like to, when they're sort of approached, right, they kind of stop and they freeze and they don't move, and they can be very skittish and scared and nervous of something new. And I feel like you're mixing something new into your life, into that melting pot, and maybe that is something that you need to trust, and to trust that it will honor you and be a part of you, and if anything, enrich you even further. So I see that coming through with trust with the white-tailed deer, but let's see what else is coming through here. I'm loving what you guys are bringing to the table. I just noticed that we have these lotuses and this white sort of energy coming through here, and then the white-tailed deer. So there's even like this purity feeling too, of like a purer version of yourself. And that isn't to say to get rid of impurity or something like that, but just like you are learning to be more of yourself than you ever have been by bringing more things together and moving things together, right? You're almost like mixing yourself to your purest form, you know? Something coming through there with that. So I want to see what else there is here for you. Group 3. What else is coming through here for you, group 3? Okay, so we have grandmother Poppy, lineage. Those who came before paved the way for you to bloom. Give thanks. Do the same. Like I said, I feel like there was something down the idea of lineage, or like the idea of, again, that you've always moved, or maybe something generationally, or something that's been passed down in your culture that you want to honor and trust in and bring back into your life even. Maybe it's been lost knowledge because of something that's happened in your culture, or down the line in history and through time. A lot of your culture maybe has been lost, and maybe you're regaining and bringing more of that back in, and sort of reclaiming that. And maybe that's why you're bringing something new that you can trust and honor back into your life. So I see that as well. Like maybe there's something down your lineage through your blood, or through your chosen family even, or through your culture, through your ancestors, even your land, right, that you live on. There's so many different ways, right, that go down the line. But I feel like you are reintroducing that back into the mixture, into the melting pot, and maybe you are able to bloom more because of it, because you're able to honor that more, right? So especially if, like, say you're biracial, right, you want to bring more of both sides of yourself together and be that mixing pot, and embrace that mixing pot that you may be. And that's just one example. There's many other examples that we have in our lives of us mixing and melding that pot. So that's really what I'm seeing here is a lot to do with that idea. And we already talked a bit on it, so I really want to see a little bit more, and we're going to be pulling some from the charms here and see what they have to say. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one as well. I was just looking over here, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but this card kept falling off the pile. And I kept trying to put it back on, and it just kept falling off. So I feel like maybe you needed to hear something from this card as well. It's Grandmother Shadow Awareness, and it says, integrate all of your parts. Unblocked light absorbs the dark. Shine on all of you. So more of that, what I was saying, like I feel like there's a missing piece in your lineage, in your culture, in your traditions, and any of that kind of stuff, right? Or even through your land that is being reintegrated and put back into your life again, and being shined on again, shining a light on it as well. So I really love that this came out as well. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tuck it right under this card, and we're going to pull you some charms. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space, and if you'd like to see more on the charms that I have in my set or charm casting, do feel free to check out the video that I have up there, all about charm casting. But also, if you're enjoying the video, do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much, so thank you. But let's go ahead and pull some charms. Okay, we didn't have a lot of charms flowing in here, to be fair. So I want to see what's coming in, and it's maybe because you're already feeling quite open to the idea, but we have a lot of charms showcasing, or not a lot, but we do have this charm that was really speaking to me, and it fell on my lap, and I had to put it back in, but this is one of the two shells, and both of the shells have come up in different piles today, but we have this little cowrie shell, and it is open, and it fell on the open side. So that trust, being open and allowing yourself to trust in your lineage, in the things that you're reintegrating, trust that other people are going to be able to accept, and you're able to honor yourself even more through opening yourself up to this new information versus freezing or fleeing the situation is really going to benefit you. We also have the letter I showing up here, more to do with integrate your parts. That is really showing up. We also have the number 9 here. I didn't mention that, as well as 51, in case those numbers resonate for any of you. But the letter I showing up here on that shadow side and on the idea of lineage, in case those resonate for maybe a specific person down your lineage or down your line, that might be coming up here. We also have on those who come before paved the way for you to bloom, give thanks, and do the same. We have the this is like a trying on a new outfit kind of charm. This is like, I got this from one of my best friends who said that they got this because they just wanted to try something out. They wanted to dabble in something new, try some new clothes on, to embrace a new version of themselves, to be able to express themselves in a new point of view, from a new point of view. And maybe it didn't work out for her. That's why it showed up in this as a charm. But it's the idea that you're allowed to try on something and take it off. It doesn't have to be permanent. But you might be trying something out within your lineage and down your line, and that's what you're mixing in, and it might be something that is worth even maybe putting into your physical appearance as well, in the way that you express yourself, and seeing how it fits and mixes and mingles for you. We also have the star charm showing up here, which I think is interesting because you got temperance with the sun above you and then the star charm. So if you were feeling like this might not be your pile, or you want to check out more than one pile, which sometimes we have more than one archetype coming through, then do feel free to check out pile 2 as well. I think that could be really beneficial for you in the idea that this came up. We also have the zip tie charm, and this is a zip tie that has broken, and so it's it's honestly showcasing to me that maybe pile 1 and pile 2 could be useful for you, and I don't want to spoil anything in case you want to check out those 2 piles, but I do think that you could integrate and mix more than you have already here, and that there's even more to the story here. So do feel free to check those out, because that feels like an indication to those. Outside of that, though, this represents hope, more on that trust, that honoring, and putting light to something that has been lost in shadow over time. And then the zip tie being something that is, again, maybe a family tie that has been broken, and you're gaining new information, maybe through, a lost family member, or maybe you've been diving into generational lineage and things like that, DNA tests, if you've been doing research into the land that you live on, or other things that really tie you together. There can be a broken tie there within the family, within your land, within something that you're reintegrating back into your life, and also kind of reclaiming. That's coming in here to give and shine light on you, as well as to shine light on others within that space. So that's everything that I'm getting here for all of your cards. I do hope that this reading has benefited you, has been useful to you. Like I said, journaling on these could be really powerful to explore a lot deeper into these concepts, into these archetypes, and how they relate to you. So if you decide to do any of that, do let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this reading as well, and to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much, so thank you. And if you'd like to, do be sure to subscribe to the channel, as I put out new videos every single Monday that could really benefit you for love, career, spirituality, and I try to be as authentic and useful within these readings as possible. I also, like I said, do educational videos on tarot and art magic and other fun spiritual things like that. And you can also check out all of the information down below on my snail mail readings and the Kindred tip jar. The Kindred tip jar, everything that goes into there goes right back into the channel, so it's a really useful space to be able to support this place, and to support me through the journey that we're doing on here, to get new decks and supplies and keep this place running. You can also check out, like I said, those snail mail readings. Those are a great way to get a private reading and have something sent to you for you to physically treasure if you want to look deeper into these concepts or other queries and questions on your mind. And I am also opening back up some more creative projects where I might be making some more spell and ritual papers for you all, as well as I'm opening back up orders for some pride earrings, some rainbow pride earrings that you can wear for Pride in Pride Month in June. So if you want to get those are made to order, and I'd love to have them made up and sent to you here soon. So if you want to check out any of that, all of that will be down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.